Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. Sitting there with Vic DiBitetto. Vic, you're a Yankee fan.
I pee pinstripes.
Yeah. Well, you were asking during the commercial if you think I think we can come back this year. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it'd be nice to see.
Only
It's just,
six. What is 6 games out? That's,
Yeah.
You know,
They're in second to last place, but it's only 6 games. Yeah. It's just an odd year, man.
Yeah.
It just feels weird.
Injuries.
Yeah. But we were talking about Rivera retiring. Is he how old is Rivera? Is he 43 years old? I wonder how old he is.
Sounds good. Sounds about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe he's just,
The thing is, I mean, if you go, man, he's been
43.
doing this
Yeah, he's
his
43.
whole
He is 43.
life.
Yeah.
His whole life. I don't know. Sometimes I think guys, well, I know for sure you don't realize until you actually are faced with the reality of not playing your sport anymore how different your life
get
is going
bored.
to become.
Imagine that
Yeah.
first game without him. That's gonna suck.
I know. Well,
Wow.
yeah, but again, that era's done. I think Yankee fans have to be resolved with the fact that that's it. It's the Jeter, Rivera years are done, man.
We're
and
entering remember Horace Clark and Jerry Kenny.
Yeah, those were bad. But it's the problem is the whole thing is just stained with A-Rod. That's all you can think of. I mean, the A-Rod thing came down today. We haven't mentioned this yet, obviously. So Major League Baseball wants the rest of this year, all of next year, which means when he comes back, he'll be 40, which means it might be kind of like a lifetime ban because he's already hurt. He's not playing up to snuff. He'll be 40 years old after being out that long. God, what an awful, tragic figure he's become. He's just a tragic figure. Yeah, I mean, he wants all his money, which means if he somehow gets the money, he'll be more hated than ever. He'll have all that cash, but he'll just walk away, just the most hated guy ever.
Until he starts hitting, then we're gonna love him.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's going to happen anymore. I mean, at the very least, a year and a half. I mean, he's not going to come back and be what he was.
I hope not. He's like a fly at a picnic.
Well,
Yeah.
how could he be what he was when what he was falsely inflated by the Jews?
Think of those numbers he was putting up in those Rangers years when he was really using, supposedly.
When he admitted
55 home runs.
Well, he was on pace.
340.
Wasn't he on pace to hit like 800?
He was on pace to break everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They thought he was going to hit. Remember, they thought he was going to hit 1,000 home runs. He was on pace to hit 1,000 homers if he played to be like 42 years old, which of course he would have done. I mean, it's just. But now I was listening to Dan Patrick today, and he said there's an option where even if he's suspended, he could go and make up some of the money in Japan. Because Japan, they would look at him like this god, and he would be the biggest draw ever, and he could make a boatload of money and play in Japan for a year. So does he go there?
So
make
next
all his money back,
season,
and
that is an option. He's not banned.
Dan Patrick was talking today like it might be an option.
I just feel like he would look at that as something so below him.
But nothing's below this guy. That's
he
the
set
point.
himself on this pedestal.
No, but that's the point. Nothing's below this guy. That's the irony. He set himself up here, but really nothing's below him. Wow. He's just a dirtbag. I mean, he really just is the most selfish. He just doesn't care.
Are there any other Americans playing in Japan?
Right now, I'm sure there are. There always are some guys over there, making money. I don't know what the names are, but the other thing Dan Patrick said today, I listened to quite a bit of Dan's show today. It was great. He also said that there's other names supposedly connected to this biogenesis thing from other sports.
Yeah. MMA.
Well, I could care less about
NFL.
that. It could be every MMA guy ever. I could care less. But it might be NFL, and it might be guys like beloved guys, where you go
NCAA.
where you go, damn, that sucks. Like you'll be like, wow, it hurts a little bit to hear this guy's involved. That's what Patrick was saying.
What about college kids who are looked at as such squeaky clean examples for our young?
Not a lot of times. A lot of times they looked at. I mean, over the years
they've been tested.
Over the years they've been tainted with. Well, I'm not talking about drugs. I'm talking about fixing games and
they get in trouble. They do dumb college kid antics and get busted, and it gets all over. The national news.
What happened to beer and hot dogs?
Well, that's what Babe Ruth got by on. Do you know I was watching? They did a special on the curse of the Bambino, and I didn't realize this. Do you know as part of that deal when they sold him for $125,000? You know what else Frazee sold the Yankees? And I never knew this. Does anyone else know this? Dan, you know this? What else was part of that deal? Babe Ruth got traded to the Yankees for $125,000 and something else, and I can't believe it's not talked about more. They gave the Yankees the mortgage on Fenway Park. The Yankees also owned Fenway Park after that deal. It was a $300,000 mortgage. They gave it to the Yankees. So they bought Babe Ruth, and they owned Fenway Park. That's how much Frazee needed money. Frazee wanted out of the mortgage and $125,000 flush because I guess he owed the fellas some money.
They could have took my house in Staten Island.
So, but my question is, how long did the Yankees own Fenway Park for? When did they sell it? I think that's hilarious. Nobody talks about that enough. I think that's great.
That is something else.
That's a bigger part of the curse. They own Fenway. They own where they played, for crying out loud.
What's your take on knocking down the cathedral? You happy
Yankee
about
Stadium?
that?
No, I hated it.
Totally against
No,
that.
I hated it. No, and with this new one, you might call it Pepsi Field. It's not Yankee Stadium.
Nope.
You know, it's like we were goofing on it when it first went up. We're like, you know, there's like a crate and barrel in there, for crying out loud. No, it's not. There's a tanning salon for the seventh inning stretch.
Fenway's still going. Wrigley's still going. How do you knock down a building where Ruth and Gehrig play? I don't understand that.
Money, corporate money.
Yeah. And there's all empty
I
seats.
spent some time in a couple of those. Maxim magazine, my friends over there. I don't think they have the box this year, but they gave me their corporate box last season at Yankee Stadium, and it's like Danny saw a game with me there. It's like watching a game in a condo. It's as white collar, it's as non-gritty as you can imagine. And if you bring your kids up watching a game like that, they're going to be different people than we were. You know, there's no smell of urine and hot dog, and you're not, you know, fighting for every inch of where you're sitting. You're in a condominium watching the game. You have your own bathroom that's clean. You have your own food brought up. You can watch the game out on the seats or watch it on a flat screen.
Stay
TV.
home and watch it on the plaza.
Where's the trough?
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, you know, there's none of that. So that's why they did it. The corporates. I mean, I'm sure they. You know, Maxim owned that box for every game, and it's 16 seats. You get 16 tickets with each box. God knows what it costs. So I guess that's it. They want to keep.
I can't afford. The only way I'll go is if I get free tickets. I can't afford a family of four.
Who can afford it? You got to be making. You got to be making $300,000 a year, $350 a year. I'd say to where you could go. I could take my kids to a few games. And then, like, you go, I'm $350,000 a year. I bet that's where you're comfortable. Who does that? I mean, that's like the most ridiculous thing ever. You're right, there's no taking a family to a game anymore.
And you got to worry about the George Washington Bridge on the way home. You got that knot in your stomach in the seventh inning.
We'll be right back after these words. To the Artie Lange Show. So, Vic, you said you had your own sanitation business in Brooklyn for a while?
Oh, it was in Manhattan.
How the hell do you open that around here?
My father, when he came from Italy, he had the big open truck.
Yeah.
And he built it up.
I was going to say, how long before the fellas come knocking for that thing? My God.
Well, it happened in '95. I'm better off.
Yeah, you know, you're better off taking the first offer.
Yeah.
That's always the rule of thumb. You want to take the first offer with that. But that's good, though. So maybe you made some money and you went to Florida. I respect that you wanted to, you were bored, though. You know, you wanted to.
Florida, you got to be rich or you got to be retired.
People
to live
have
down there.
oddly have money down there. They, you know.
And plus, I lived on the West Coast. It was nowhere near any, like, Miami Beach or Fort Lauderdale. It
You
was
were by
just
Tampa?
an hour north, a little town called Spring Hill.
Yeah.
The
So
next
nothing-
town, there were KKK rallies.
I know Florida's hardcore,
Yes.
man. If you're not in Miami or Tampa,
Yep.
you make a couple of wrong turns, a couple miles out, and you're like in.
That's right.
It's hardcore redneck.
And I had to drive to the other coast to do a gig. It was horrible.
There were literally Klan rallies.
Yeah, Brooksville. Have you heard of Brooksville?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Woo! That's when you go.
Just that every day it's hot and it's just.
Well, why'd you end
They're
up
still
there?
worried.
Why'd you end up there and
You
not
should have
in-
seen the house I had. You know, it was it was.
Of course, right? You probably had a
Cost of living.
It
mansion,
was amazing.
Yeah.
3-car garage, 2 acres of land.
but you
It was
just down there bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like I was in witness protection pro. I was digging a hole one day to plant an orange tree. They called the sheriff. They knew we were Italian. They thought we were burying a body or something.
Yeah, well, that does make you. It probably does give you an exact taste of what witness protection.
It was like my Blue Heaven. Remember that movie?
Yeah,
that's what
right.
I felt like.
That's right. Well, listen, I respect that because I always say that to myself. Like, I got to get out of the rat race. I got to, it moves too fast. This, that, the
You
other.
don't realize how great the city is till you leave it.
I know. And then you say, I got enough money. I could go move to Mississippi and own a plantation. But of course, I wouldn't have the slaves. I would pay people. But but you think cost of living, blah blah blah. But then you go, my God, forget it. I'd probably go nuts.
Then we came back to Staten Island. Now I'm in Jersey. I'm in Manalapan.
That's a nice town.
Freehold.
That's a good town.
I tell people I live between Springsteen and Bon Jovi. Oh, now I know where you are.
That's right. Yeah, they still have houses down by not Freehold. Rumson down there. Did you ever drive to some of the houses? The Rumson.
Well, for $520? Oh,
I know,
my God.
Rumson is Rumson, New Jersey is the top 12 richest communities in the country.
Yep.
Where Springsteen and Bon Jovi live.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. It's the other thing is the road grinding it out. Do you do a lot of the road? Like
No, because now I drive a school bus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
And you like doing that?
I always had 2 jobs. I got a family. I got a mortgage. I always put the family before the career.
Right.
You know? But this is a good gig because you drive the bus for 4 hours and I'm home 4 hours.
Right.
So I come home in between my runs. I can do
That's
whatever
not
I got to
bad.
do. I
And
can
you
work.
have the summers off?
Work summers off.
You don't do the school bus for like summer school?
No, that's why I'm able to go to do the Riviera next week.
Oh, that's good.
It's
what grade do you deal with?
I got the middle. What do I call that? Middle school.
Do you want to strangle the kids? Like
Well, they're special ed.
oh, all right. That's
Some of
so
them
you
want
have
to
a short
strangle.
bus?
Well, I got the big bus.
Oh, okay.
Some of them you want to strangle, but you can't. You know. But-
Is there a stigma attached to driving the short bus too, or is it
No.
just riding on the short bus?
you probably have
that's
to be a
no-no?
better person more skilled to drive.
Why didn't you
No,
get a short bus?
The short bus is more responsibilities. You have wheelchairs to hook up.
Oh, got it. All
So
right.
Vic,
rough.
so real quick, give your plugs again because we got to wrap up. But thanks so much, buddy.
Yeah.